Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Now, one of the essential discs in my collection is a Dukas disc. In this case, this one, which is quite splendid. You know, some of you have heard I've done some reviews and other things featuring Jean-Luc Tingaud, who is just a terrific French conductor in the echt French style. That is swift, unsentimental, crisp, rhythmic, no nonsense, just really good stuff. He's done a fabulous Poulenc, which I've talked about, and this disc is just as fine. You know, Dukas wrote so few works. There are only 4 major orchestral works, 3 of which are here. And the one that isn't here, I don't particularly miss. There's the Symphony in C, check. There's the Sorcerer's Apprentice, check. There's the Fanfare and Ballet La Péri, check, check. And the only other one that's not here is the Overture to Pagliucti, whatever it's called, which is, nice to have if you want, but if you don't, you're not missing as much as you would be with missing any of the other 3. So these performances are absolutely first rate. The Sorcerer's Apprentice is a really tough piece to do well. Really tough. I remember reading an interview with James Levine when he recorded it with the Berlin Philharmonic, and he talked about just how hard it was to get them to play it correctly because they didn't know it. They didn't play it. It was the Berlin Philharmonic. Karajan was not much of a Dukas guy, And when Levine rolled in and said, "Here, let's do this," they were like, "Ah!" It's very tricky rhythmically and intricate, and it has to be played with the right lightness and fantasy and precision and all of those things. And these performances have that. They're really good. They're with the RTE National Symphony Orchestra of Ireland, which is really quite a fine ensemble. And they're trained. Tingaud trained them to do this. And they do it really, really well. Next, you get La Péri. I adore La Péri. It's a fantasy ballet. It's only about 18 minutes long. It begins so quietly that Dukas added that wonderful fanfare at the opening, which has been used for lots of theme songs and other things, especially the part, da 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 ba 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 da da ba do 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 da 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 da. It's just wonderful, glorious piece of music. I think I used it for miniature masterpieces. In fact, I'm sure I did. And I used this performance, I'm pretty sure, too. So there you go. So that's nice to have. But the pièce de résistance, and the piece which is far, far, far too little known, is the Symphony in C. Not to be confused with Bizet's Symphony in C. This is a big 3-movement symphony in the tradition of Franck and Dandy. And quite frankly, after the Franck Symphony in D minor, this is probably the best French symphony out there. In that style. It's really, really wonderful. It's got fabulous, fabulous tunes. There's the second subject of the first movement, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. It's a beautiful, soulful tune. And then there's this really peppy sort of cadence theme, da 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 dum ba dum ba dum, da 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 dum ba da, do 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 ba da, like that. It's great. It's absolutely great. It's in cyclical form, of course, and it's just a fast, slow, fast 3 movements lasting 40 minutes. They're very, very substantial movements, and it's simply wonderful. There is no excuse in the world for people not knowing it, and the fact that it never gets played, like so much great music that you really only encounter on recordings, and it's been recorded many times. This is hardly a premiere type thing. There are at least, oh goodness, half a dozen, maybe it's 9 or 10 recordings of it, and most of them are very good. Because, like a lot of sort of unusual pieces of quality music, most people don't do it unless they're prepared to do it well. And so, I don't have any problem with other performances out there. But one thing I like about this disc is that it's likely to be available for a while, which I think is important for talking about it to other people, such as yourselves. And I've become very, very happy with it over the past few years that I've had it. When did this come out? It was recorded in 2013. Of course, it was released much later. I'm not sure exactly what year it came out, but I do know that it's absolutely first rate, and I recommend it very strongly, and I enjoy it enormously. And once you have your single Dukas disc, you can build in maybe one or two others as, comparisons or alternatives. But just to have one, and you got to have one, this Naxos disc is pretty wonderful. It really is. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.